was getting ready for a trip, but I recently got this in the mail. Let's see what's inside, shall we? Huh. Well, would you look at that? Released in 1997 by Naughty Dog, Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back is the sequel to the original Crash Bandicoot. Crash Bandicoot 2 was released for the PlayStation 1, and it builds off of the basic mechanics of Crash Bandicoot 1 wonderfully. You can now slide, high jump, crawl, and body slam, which builds off the original movement controls of running and jumping, adding a lot more depth to the platforming experience. And you use these moves to traverse the levels. And there are 5 main places these levels take place. You have a jungle, a snowy area, kind of a swampy jungle area, the sewers, an ancient temple, and space. However, there's more than just the locations to these levels. There's also level types. That's right. There's, I'd argue, 4 distinct types of levels. You have your typical, walking forwards levels. You have your side scrollers. But then you have your, what I call Indiana Jones levels, where you are running towards the camera away from either a polar bear or a big boulder. Now, this was never really done before, especially in a platformer. Running towards the camera is unimaginable at this time in gaming, but Crash Bandicoot revolutionized it into something that we still see in games today with games like Mario Odyssey. Other than those, we have the jetpack levels, which are bad. They do not control that well. However, that's not really a big deal as there aren't that many within the game. And there's even levels where you ride a polar bear. That's right, you ride a polar bear. So, we've gone over the locations and types of levels, but what do you even do in them? Well, I'm glad you asked. You run through them breaking boxes, beating enemies, and collecting collectible items like crystals and gems. There are 3 main kinds of crystals. You have your purple ones, which are in every single level along the main path. Your completion gems, which you get for breaking every single crate within a level. And there is 5 special colored gems throughout the game. Well, would you look at that? It's time for the Time Loop Productions bonus round. Bonus levels consist of an extra area where you run around breaking crates, and you get to experiment with the movement and controls of the game, since if you die in a bonus area, you don't lose any lives. They also tend to have a puzzle, like figuring out how to jump across something with your movement options, or jumping on birds. Next up is the story. The game picks up right where Crash Bandicoot 1 left off, with Dr. N. Cortex falling from his space station back to the island. He falls and then he finds crystals. Then a whole year passes and Crash Bandicoot is abducted by Dr. Cortex in order to help him find crystals to save the planet. You then get called by Dr. Cortex's past assistant, Dr. Embryo, to help him find different crystals to take down Cortex. These different crystals, of course, being the colored ones and the ones you get for breaking all the boxes. Once that's done and you have defeated every single boss from every single world, you then fight Dr. Cortex in a one-on-one jetpack battle. After that, you and Embryo blow up Dr. Cortex's space station, giving you the secret ending. In the normal ending, well, the space station doesn't blow up. And that's about the only real difference. Now back there, you may have noticed I said boss fights. And that's right, within this game, there are boss fights. There's actually 5 if you include Dr. Cortex. The first one is Ripperoo, where he jumps around his stage, first placing TNT crates, then placing nitro crates, which knock him out, and then you spin into him to deal damage. After him, there's the Komodo brothers, where one gets thrown spinning around the stage while the other one throws swords at you. Once the one is stopped spinning, you spin into him to deal damage and take the Komodo brothers down. Next up, Tiny Tiger. To beat him, you have to lure him into jumping where a falling platform used to be, since he follows you. And the penultimate boss is Engine, Dr. Cortex's evil helper. You fight him in a mech robot battle, where he's in his robot firing missiles at you, and you have to dodge and then eventually spin into him. So we've gone over the story, and the levels, and the types of levels, and the bosses, and the bonus rounds. But what do I think about Crash Bandicoot 2? Overall, I think Crash Bandicoot 2, Cortex Strikes Back, is one of the best platformers of all time. It came at an era where the platforming genre was getting stale. However, it revolutionized the way games not only feel, but control and just look. This game is a blast to play, whether you've played it once or you're playing it for your millionth time. I really do enjoy this game. That was Crash Bandicoot 2 Cortex Strikes Back. Oh, okay. Wonder what that does. Oh no! Who keeps doing this?
I believe it is time to make my presence known.